Speak for everybody. I know where I stand, and I love the silver and black. I'm going to give it everything I can every time I go out there. And I can't speak for everybody, what's going on in their head, but I can tell you what's going on in my head, and I'm going to give it all that I can every single time. Sorry for being emotional. I'm just pissed off about some of the things that a lot of us try and do just to practice what we put our bodies through just to sleep at night. It's hard, and I wish everybody in that room felt the same way about this place. And as a leader, that pisses me off, if I'm being honest.
Snaps to Carr in the shotgun. Back to pass. Climbs the pocket. Eyes downfield. Fires a strike to Devontae at the 25. Breaks away 20. 15, 10, 5. Dives. Touchdown Raiders. Derek Carr on the run. Delivered a strike.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis. Presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The Playbook is live here on Bettor Sports Network, and a new Saint is certainly marching in. But let's introduce you to a few old ones first. Justin Fensterman, Adam Ronis here as the Playbook opens up. Let's talk about sports for the next couple of hours with all of you. We'll give plays, we'll give news. We'll have a hell of a lot of fun. What's up, Roan? How you doing?
Doing well, man. Just a long weekend. Fantasy baseball, labor draft in Florida, and just came back today.
How was it? Did you have a good time? You could be honest.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. Definitely, it's always good seeing people in the industry. So, yeah, I had a good time. The auction was fun. It was a good room. It wasn't that serious. So, yeah, I had a good time.
All people were kind of giving each other like throwing barbs and stuff throughout. It wasn't very quiet and just the auctioneer talking.
Yeah, nah. It was people joking, making comments. So it was a fun time.
You know what, man? Those things can be so stuffy. Let me tell you, I covered those drafts for years and years, and it's just it goes slow. You got to have a fun room of people where you could give each other some crap. And I even heard you on some of the broadcasts on Sirius XM as well. And you were hilarious talking about who was giving you a death stare while you were going back and forth with one of the NBC participants, which I thought
It wasn't me. No, she didn't do it to me. It was to other people. I was just like, damn, man, you don't want to get in her way.
And they asked her about the death stare afterwards, and she admitted to it. She said she does it. A little bit fearful right there. Before we get into our first plays of the day, we've got Isaiah Groves and we got the Resource AB, Adam Bernard, hanging out with us. And all of you, hit us up in the comments section. You can tweet us at Bettor Network. We got some news, though, Rome. Derek Carr going to the New Orleans Saints for 4 years, about $150 million. This is a guy who last year completed just a shade over 60% of his passes. When it came to anything fantasy football related, didn't really do very well for anybody out there that drafted him. He was going, I'd say, in that top 12 range right at the end. Right, Ron? Would you say he was going between 10 and 12? When
quarterback? Like 10 to 15 in that range.
Yeah, I mean, he threw for over 3,500 yards last season, but it certainly wasn't, especially coming off of 2021, where he completed over 68% of his passes. Has had a few seasons like that, but the change of scenery now for the first time in, I guess, 9 years. He was drafted back in 2014, going to the Saints, as it's been the story all year or all week long. Rome, what do you think of the fit for Derek Carr now in New Orleans?
I mean, I don't think it really does anything for fantasy value. I mean, he's just
a guy, right? He's just a quarterback.
Yeah, average fantasy quarterback. I mean, he's in a division with no quarterbacks. That helps, but it doesn't make me want to target him for fantasy.
Yeah, nah, same here. I was thinking about that as well here, and something that AB is asking us here. Jameis Winston at this point here. Cap casualty coming up, Roan? What do you think? I'm thinking that
I mean, he's going to be cut.
We'll have to see what happens there. A few other quarterbacks that are kind of circling around our heads still. We're still thinking about Lamar Jackson. We're still thinking about Aaron Rodgers as well. I know the New York Jets were in on Derek Carr. Personally, I mean, as someone who has rooted for this team, I was looking at Jimmy Garoppolo for the team. But so far, this is what we've got here as the shoe falls. We're going to talk some NFL free agency. About a week ago, you saw that Leonard Fournette, the report that he was going to be getting released. So it's about that time. Football never sleeps in this country, on this network, and certainly on this show. But does this really move the needle? Oh my God, can we start picking apart all the options? Well, we don't know what this team is going to be dealing with when it comes to next season because of everything going on with Alvin Kamara. Who the hell knows with that? Obviously, the receivers were banged up last year. Who is Derek Carr going to be throwing to? We don't really know at this point outside of Chris Olave. So we'll have to see there. So still a lot of unknown, but Derek Carr going to the New Orleans Saints, 4 years, $150 million. Like I said, for a guy who completed fewer than 61% of his passes. I'm sure all of you that had Devontae Adams too, you thought that maybe it would be an even better year for him, but wasn't. Man, even going back to thinking about some of those other Raiders as well that did and didn't work out. Josh Jacobs, maybe the value of the year in fantasy last season. Hunter Renfrow, definitely one of the disappointments of last season as well. So Carr in New Orleans, how do you all feel about that? Saints fans, are you guys happy about this? Do you like this? Does this really move the needle for you? Does it? Let us know in the comments section right now. Outside of that, Roan, looking to see what others are talking about, include for tonight Donovan Mitchell, someone that is hashtag right now dealing with a little finger injury here for these Cleveland Cavaliers. But here's the interesting thing with this matchup coming up between the Celtics and the Cavs, Roan. You had 2 overtime games, and then you had last week, all of a sudden, when it looked like Boston was going to cover, for those that jumped in because the line at one point was 6.5, Cleveland able to backdoor cover that with a late heroics of comeback. They didn't complete the comeback, of course, but they were able to cover it there. Tonight, though, is going to be a little deceiving. Why is that? Because the Celtics played a double overtime game last night against the New York Knicks. You catch any of the game at all?
No, I was following it. I was out to dinner and I was kind of following it in Uber. When I got back to the hotel, I just saw the final shot. So I missed a lot of it. Watched some of the highlights. But yeah, I mean, the Knicks are just rolling right now. And that's now 3 wins over the Celtics, like in the last few weeks.
I still don't believe in them, Roan. I still just don't at this point. Maybe depending on their matchup in the first round, they win a round. I still don't see them beating the Boston Celtics, assuming the Celtics are going to be fully healthy in a 7-game series. Milwaukee, I don't think they have a shot against them. Philly, maybe. Cleveland, maybe. Those 2 other teams, I just don't see it. Now, it was impressive that the Knicks did this, and this game was just very, very exciting. It was pretty much the Emmanuel Quickly show. And the Knicks, by the way, they had a lead. They were up 7 with about a minute to go. They blew that lead. The Knicks tend to do that as well. And they take stupid shots, which is something else that I think will hinder them. And when they do that, they take the stupid shots that hinder them. It takes away from the mood you're seeing them on the court. Julius Randle does too much. Roan, this is someone who's got to protect the ball. The Celtics figured out Julius Randle. Randle leaves his side exposed so that if he's not watching the ball as he's dribbling, he's getting pickpocketed a lot throughout the game. And he's got to take care of that, especially in the closing moments. And the Knicks got to make better plays. That's something that I'm wondering if they're going to address, because no disrespect to Emmanuel Quickly, but can they really rely on him to play hero in a 7-game series or in multiple games consistently? Last night, Roan, Quickly wasn't missing anything. He was hitting everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing very well. We talked about his props, even coming off the bench. It was sitting at like 12.5 a lot of games, and he keeps going over it. Was inserted into the starting lineup with Jalen Brunson out. And it's just been really productive. And now he is the leader in the odds for 6th man of the year. Like, he's come out of nowhere and is now minus 140 ahead of Malcolm Brogdon.
Amazing. And Brogdon's been up there all year long. And just the quick change just like that. And he really came through yesterday. So now Boston going into tonight, they're going to be a little fatigued. They're also going to be without, as far as we know right now, there's no Tatum tonight. There's no Robert Williams tonight. And I haven't seen who else has been ruled out of this game. I wondered about Horford, but I know at least those 2 are going to be out of the mix there for Boston against Cleveland. So how much when you're looking at this matchup, because you know how good Cleveland is, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Horford is out.
Horford is going to be out for this game. Okay.
Yeah.
So when looking at this game, I mean, do you feel that the Cavs should, because of the fatigue factor, how much do you take fatigue in when they, the night before, are playing a double overtime thriller against the Knicks? You think the Celtics are going to come out dragging their feet today against a team that can shut you out offensively, but also plays very good defense?
Well, I mean, Brogdon didn't play yesterday, right?
No.
And he's going to play today, so he shouldn't be fatigued. I mean, Derek White will play a big role. I guess Jaylen Brown will play. So, I mean, you'll see it reflected in the line. I mean, it was 3.5 to open. Now it's 7.5 with Cleveland favored. So, and the total's low. So, I mean, you'd expect Cleveland to win the game, but you still can look at maybe some of the props on the Celtics side, like a Derek White and a Malcolm Brogdon, depending on what the lines are.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a look at those lines here in just a second. We're going to talk about Ronus's labor auction that he was a part of here. We'll take a look at his team, and he'll talk about what he liked, didn't like today. We're previewing the Cleveland Guardians. Give some odds regarding them for winning the division. They are favored on DraftKings Sportsbook. We'll also go over players to target as well. And then we got to talk about this, the ongoing Ja Morant situation in Memphis. Memphis not only lost Ja Morant for at least the next couple of games, but it's looking like, for now, an indefinite amount of time. But Brandon Clark also tore his Achilles. Another big man for the Grizzlies that is now hurt, and Clark is done for the year. And it's going to change things around. It's going to impact things, especially now that we don't know when we're going to see Ja Morant play again, as he's under investigation by the NBA. And this goes back to a conversation when we were having about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And you and I both seem to be on the same page that even with this team at full strength, still not a full believer that they'd be able to get out of the West. And this just messes up even more, could potentially mess with chemistry. Who knows when we're going to see Ja Morant back out there. But for those that are sitting there on their fantasy basketball waiver wires, Tyus Jones should not be out there at this point. We're already over a day since news expanded about Ja Morant. But what do you think, Rowan? I mean, how much does this hurt the Memphis Grizzlies now that we have all these unknowns regarding Ja Morant? Because they're not going to be able to compete at all without him.
Yeah, we just don't know how long he's going to be out. It's indefinite right now. So I'm sure he'll be back for the playoffs. But, Clark being out, Adams is still out. It's going to hurt the team in the short term. And now the question is, are they going to be able to hold the 2 seed? Sacramento's 1 game behind them, and the surging Phoenix Suns are 3 games behind them. And Kevin Durant, yeah, thanks for playing big minutes yesterday. I appreciate that when I needed you on Friday night. That was ridiculous. And I knew because I was on Durant's over 20.5 points. We talked about it on Friday, 21.5. And he had 20 points with 8 minutes left, and he finished with 20. And BetMGM tweeted out that night, 99% of the bets are on the over. So I knew we were absolutely screwed.
As soon as you texted me that,
I knew we were screwed.
In my mind, I ripped up the ticket.
I was like, oh, damn. And then yesterday he plays, 37 minutes and has 75 points. So that's cool. Thank you, Durant. I'm sure tomorrow – they play tomorrow? No. So they play probably Wednesday. And I'm sure his props are going to be – it'll be back up. They're hosting the Thunder. Man, could be a blowout, but I'm sure his line will be back up to 26.5, 27.5 would be my guess. But what sucked about yesterday is I wasn't able to bet because I was in Florida. I would have been, and I told Ryan Hallam, I was with him, I was like, damn, man, Tyus Jones props tonight. And when I looked at halftime, he wasn't having a big game. I was like, I'm not worried, man. Did you see what his PRAs were yesterday? Was it 24.5, 28? I was like, whatever it is, I'm betting it tomorrow. So he had 25 points, 12 assists, and 3 rebounds. We've seen it all year. When he gets the opportunity to start, he puts up massive numbers. So I don't know what the number was yesterday. They do play tomorrow. So I'm hoping it's like 24.5 to 28.5. They're playing the Lakers, man. So I'm going to be eyeing that. And then what was the other? Oh, and of course, Marvin Bagley has a big game yesterday. He got the start and had a big game, I see.
Right. And now here's the interesting thing regarding tonight for him. There's no Bojan Bogdanovic. So I'm wondering if they're now going to force him to play power forward. Should still get the center minutes. We don't know. Have we seen any confirmation on James Wiseman? That's something that
still questionable.
Yeah. So we don't know about that at this point. If he does not get 20 to 25 minutes tonight, I'm done with him, Roan.
Well, he did. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I'm trying to think.
He did get a good amount of minutes. By the way, 3 straight of the double, 3 in his last 4 games, double doubles, with all 3 of those games scoring at least 20 points in the process.
Yeah, he started on Saturday, 34 minutes, and had the double-double. So if he starts, I think, I'm sure the odds for double-double are, we'll check later. But, but I think Memphis at this point, it wasn't a team that I was betting anyway. And I'm assuming Ja. Well, then again, I don't know. We can't really assume anything with Ja because now the Colorado police are investigating.
Right.
So
we're talking multiple incidents involving a gun. Multiple.
Mm-hmm.
One of them involving a kid. We
just don't know what's true at this point. But the fact is that we do have multiple situations, and the fact that he is away from the team has to be concerning at this point. But it really doesn't do much because, again, I wasn't a believer in this team. As far as the odds, it's not like, oh wow, their odds dropped, now I'm gonna put money up. No, it's not a buying opportunity.
Right. Dylan Brooks getting suspended for getting too many technicals. Maybe Dylan Brooks, especially with John Morano, should just shut his freaking mouth, play some basketball, and help this team try to fill the void that's needed right now instead of trying to be Mr. Bad Boy over here. Just want to say that. By the way, we missed that profit boost on Friday.
Oh, dude.
Can you freaking believe that? It was looking great in the first half. They were destroying them.
They were
a freaking idiot not wanting to.
Boston had a 28-point lead on Brooklyn and lost it. We had the money line for Boston, money line for Denver, plus 112. Denver won, beating Memphis, which we expected that they at home after losing to them in Memphis. And somehow the Boston Celtics relinquished a 28-point lead. So it's the second time in the last week and a half that we've seen an NBA team come back from that. The Lakers came down from 27 against Dallas and won. And now Brooklyn does it to Boston on Friday to ruin our boost. I was just like, my friend jumped on it too, and I was out with him to dinner, and he was like, F Boston.
Yeah, there was that. There was the Thibault over 8.5 points. He ends up with 8 on Friday.
I told you, though, I was not feeling that. I told you I liked the over 1.5 threes better. He hit that, right?
I forgot. I forgot if he hit it or not. Mm-hmm. I knew he hit at least 1 3. The Capella over from Friday, that was my first play. Got to that. That ended up working out well, although it was getting very close for a while, and that game was double figures, and I was surprised that Capella went back in. He did. He was able to complete it. And then the Durant just missing by 1.5 points there at 20 points, and we got it at 21.5. So a bunch of close calls there. But, man, that Celtics, that boost, dude, I was sitting there just watching the game, and I couldn't believe what I was watching because I checked it at first, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is looking really good. I don't know how Brooklyn's going to be able to come back. Boom, they did. And it was quick, too. Happened very quickly, man. Most of the second half, Brooklyn was in control of this game.
Yeah, it was insane, man. I just couldn't believe it. I'm sitting there like, really? They blew this lead? So I should have known some of these boosts, man.
They do. What do we have tonight? We'll talk about what we have tonight a little bit.
I don't even want to look.
We'll take a look at that. But, Rowan, as always, we got to give the people what they want here because we got to start things off. We are the playbook. We give plays. That's mainly what we do. So let's start things off here by giving, for the first time this week, it is the playbook's opening plays. So with that, Rowan, where are you thinking tonight? I don't know if you've placed really anything just yet when it comes to betting, but we've got the 6 games this evening. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I haven't placed anything yet. I'm eyeing a few things. I'm obviously waiting on a lot of injury news here. I mean, Miles Turner was downgraded to questionable. You know, if he's out, then Embiid is going to just absolutely smash. All right, I'm going to go Tyrese Maxey over 21.5 points.
I like
minus
that.
105 on DraftKings. Has Tobias Harris officially been ruled out?
Not that I've seen.
Oh, okay.
He go through shoot around though.
And what about Tucker?
Also did not go through shoot around. We're waiting.
All right, I'm assuming Tobias will be out. I mean, Maxi's gone over this in 4 straight, so all of a sudden he's come alive. He's played at least 34 minutes in 3 straight. Good matchup here against the Pacers. So, I mean, 21.5's pretty low number. So, yeah, I'll go Maxi over 21.5. I was looking at Harden too. I think Harden's only 22.5. Damn, man.
That's kind of where I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. I might have to go with that one instead.
You know what? And that's probably where I'm heading for mine too, because of the Pacers. We don't know about Halliburton still. Not like it matters anyway, but we don't know about Halliburton.
You know what? Forget it.
Matter a little bit.
No. I'm gonna go back to something that I always use when I feel it's the right spot, and this is it. Oh, it's juiced up though. Okay, forget it.
All right, so
James Harden over 2.5 threes, minus 145 on Caesars.
Nice,
but I like it. I mean, it's the Pacers. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of Philly's a good spot here tonight. Embiid, if there's no Turner, he's going to feast. Harden. I mean, they all could. I mean, that's not.
I like the Harden line. That's what I'm going to go with for my first play tonight. It should be a very fast-paced matchup, and with James Harden in there, I mean, shooting over 40% from downtown this season. Again, the Pacers, a bottom 10 team at guarding point guards, and with the pace boost there. The Halliburton situation makes me tiny bit fearful of a blowout, but still.
Game's in Indiana, though. I think that helps.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we knew for sure if he was going to be in, because then maybe it keeps it a little bit closer.
Oh, yeah, what if Halliburton and Turner are out?
Yeah, then that's a problem. The one saving grace, though, Roan, is that if Tobias Harris is also out of this game, then Philly's at least losing some of their scoring as well. Tucker being out, they're losing some of their defense. So we can pick apart this a little bit, but I'm going to go with my first play, James Harden over 22.5 points. Again, something that I've been eyeing all throughout the day. You're right. This is the matchup to take advantage of. Injuries on both sides of the ball here. So looks like for you, you're going Maxey and I'm going Harden. So we're teaming up on the Philly backcourt tonight. You ready?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Yeah, I like Harden too. But yeah, I like both plays at this point.
So for those that are keeping score, first plays on the playbook feature the exact same backcourt. The road man, Tyrese Halliburton, over 21.5 points.
No.
Oh, it's not.
You said Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh, Tyrese Maxey, over 21.5 points. Thank God I have you. Yeah. James Harden for me. Still the right name?
No.
Damn. Okay. Jimmy Harden, 22.5 points. Bet the over on that one.
Johnny Harden. Get it right.
Man, Johnny, fine. Finally.
Right. You're not going.
I make every mistake, right? Tyrese Maxey over 21.5 points. James Harden over 22.5 points are the playbooks. First bets of the day. Lock them in because they got Indiana tonight. A very fruitful matchup. We'll get back to the rest of the slate. We're also going to talk some futures because with what's going on in Memphis, not to take away from the importance of the issue that is beyond basketball, I do want to take a look and see some of these futures regarding teams, chances to make the playoffs, also to win the Western Conference, especially because when you've got a drama situation like this, it brings a lot of paranoia in the wagering world. So we're going to take a look at what DraftKings is offering with that. Then a little bit later on, DFS plays. I got your value video up at fantasyalarm.com. And then we'll talk more bets with all of you. Happy to be with everybody here on a Monday on the playbook. Let's talk a little bit of baseball, though. Adam Ronis in an auction. We'll talk general auction strategy for those that maybe haven't participated in a fantasy baseball auction this year or ever. We'll get the mood from Ronis. We'll talk to him about some of the things that he took away from that auction here on the playbook on Bettor Sports Network.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Bettor Sports Network.
Let's talk a little NBA because I found it interesting yesterday with those that are now all of a sudden going to be critical of Nikola Jokic and what he's accomplishing this year for the Denver Nuggets. As Denver is the top seed in the Western Conference right now, they've won 44 games so far during the course of the NBA regular season, and Nikola Jokic is well on his way to to being a three straight time NBA MVP in the regular season. He's been remarkable. He's averaging a triple-double, nearly 25 points per game, over 11 rebounds a game, and 10 assists per game. His remarkable accomplishments have really poo-pooed or knocked down the idea of voter fatigue, which was a huge part of the conversation coming into the NBA regular season, thinking that there have only been three men, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, that have ever won 3 consecutive NBA regular seasons. Mind you, you could never give that to Nikola Jokic, because think about the historical ramifications it would be in the NBA. LeBron's never done it. Michael's never done it. How could Nikola Jokic do it? And then you get this, and it's the case of the hot take world that we're in, or I need something to say, or let's think of a different angle to approach a topic. But the idea that Nikola Jokic is a stat padder is complete and utter nonsense. I mean, you've had one person after another come out saying Nikola Jokic is not looking at his stat line during the course of an NBA game. He's not focused in on whether or not where his rebounds are, where his assists are in any particular game. He's having an historic season. He's shooting nearly 64% from the floor. He is being economical in the way that he's going about his business offensively. He's distributing the basketball. He's also been a willing rebounder as well. Why be critical of something that we're watching, which is historic? We're seeing him do stuff that no other NBA player has ever been able to go out there and accomplish. So as we go and look at Jokic, and he is going to be the MVP. It's not going to be Joel Embiid with the Philadelphia 76ers. It's not going to be anybody else that you want to throw out there. As we watch the brilliance of the Denver Nuggets, and everyone looks at the Western Conference and wants to look at teams like the Phoenix Suns if Kevin Durant is healthy, or the Los Angeles Clippers, or the Sacramento Kings, or, let's be honest, the very, very immature Memphis Grizzlies, and everybody wants to pick anybody else but the Denver Nuggets to come out of that West and get to themselves to the NBA Finals, even throwing the Golden State Warriors into the equation as the defending NBA champs. Well, I think we have to have a lot of respect for what Denver's been able to do this regular season, and a healthy respect of going into the postseason. And I also think we have to have a respect of what Nikola Jokic is accomplishing as well, and not be critical just for the sake of being critical. That, to me, is utterly nonsense. For more content like this, check out Bettor Network at TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and also on YouTube.
Swing, fly ball, that is walloped. Make it 8 home runs in 16 games. Austin Riley with a 2-run bomb, and the Braves are at it again in Washington. There it is. 9 strikeouts, 9 outs for Spencer Strider.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Bettor Sports Network.
The Atlanta Braves radio network on those calls here, and you're looking at some of the stats from last year regarding Austin Riley. Hit nearly 40 home runs, about 93 RBIs, 273 at the dish with 90 runs there. It's Spencer Strider, by the way, very affordable contract that he signed before with the Braves there. Hats off to the Braves for being able to do what they did and being able to get a core that they have here and not spending the most amount of money. Strider last year with over 200 strikeouts and a sub-3 ERA. And both of these players are on Adam Ronis's labor mixed team from the auction that took place, the League of Alternative Baseball Reality, celebrating its 30th year. And with that, Ronis grabbing a couple of Braves there, very smart. And just as all of you know, a good lesson to teach everybody here. We all know that Adam Ronis is a big Mets fan, a diehard Mets fan, loves his Mets more than just about anything, loves the Mets more than me, probably, more than he loves me. But still, it's not about drafting with your heart. It's about investing properly into your team. Are the Mets paying his rent? No, they're not. Is this league? Absolutely it is. And he was able to get a few Braves on his team. Strider for $25 in this mixed league, $260 budget. He also got Austin Riley for $30, and then Ozzie Albies for $18, just to name a few, Roan.
Damn, I didn't realize I had that many Braves.
Yeah, man, but you know what?
And I got Charlie Morton.
So
and I was also in the bidding on Kyle Wright.
So I'm guessing that you really love the Braves this year, huh?
I think they're better than the Mets still. I'm just being honest. They're better than the Mets. The Mets didn't do anything to upgrade the outfit. So this is a really good team, and they have a lot of fantasy players. So, yeah, it wasn't the plan. But definitely was not a plan to go Braves heavy. But
Were any of these guys active targets of yours?
no, I don't. In an auction, I don't have a ton of active targets. A lot of it's based on price and what's going on. I mean, there was no one in this where I said, "Oh, I have to get this guy." I don't think when you do that, I think you tend to overbid or you come fixated. And I could absolutely tell in the auction there were some people who were like, they were like, "Yeah, I'm getting this guy no matter what," and you could see it, and when they're bidding. So I didn't really feel that way about anyone. You have certain guys that you like, but I didn't feel that way about anyone in this draft.
Did you feel that you could tell based on, because you were there in person? Last few years, we've done a lot of remote auctions in the industry. This year, with you being right there, you were able to tell. Were you able to tell by people's faces what they were going to be doing? I don't know if you were focusing on everybody else in the auction room while some of these players were coming off the board, and maybe while you were involved in the bidding, were you trying to read people's expressions to see if you could find anything or notice any consistency in their bidding?
Yeah, no, I could definitely tell who wanted certain players. It was easy to tell based on their inflection, the way they bid. So, when you know that, okay, I could go up an extra $1 and they're probably going to go higher. And you did hear people comment, you maybe pay an extra $1. So it was pretty clear for some who they were after.
Dalton Varsho has this incredible feature with him in that he qualifies both at catcher and the outfield. $20 you got him for. And this was somebody highly coveted in some of the other auctions as well. There, I was hanging out actually in the AL only auction, doing a little broadcasting there. Saw him get prioritized very much. With Dalton Varsho, were there a lot of quick bids on him, or were you actually pretty impressed with the price that you got?
I mean, looking at some of the catches and what they went for after, I probably overpaid, but you don't know that when you're bidding. I felt like just people didn't pay in this league, man. They just didn't pay up for players. It was kind of surprising to me. With Varsho, though, what I like is that he's a catcher that's not going to catch. So I'm going to get pretty much him in the lineup every single day, which is a big deal. So that's what I like. And he had some speed. So I didn't plan to pay $20 on a catcher. I think Real Muto went for 23. So I'm like, all right, yeah, if Varsho's around 20, that's fair to me. So that's looking back at it now, I'm just like, I mean, let's see, Wilson Contreras for 13. Like, come on, man. Real Muto was 23. Alejandro Kirk was 13. Those guys are still going to have less at bats. Melendez was 9. I mean, Sean Murphy 12. William, the guys didn't pay up for catchers. So that's the thing is it works both ways. So Lindor, I got Lindor early for 22. And who was it? Where is his price?
Who are you looking for?
O'Neill. I guess they have him at middle infield in. O'Neill Cruz.
Okay, let me check it out very
I think
quickly.
he went for $22.
He went for $23.
He went $1 more than Lindor. And Lindor goes in the third round of most 15-team leagues and Cruz is the 5th or 6th. So getting Lindor early for 22 looked good in hindsight, considering that Cruz went for 23. But then on the opposite end, I paid 20 for Varsho, and some of these other catchers went for cheaper. Again, though, the thing about Varsho is the at-bats, because that's what killed me in this league last year. There was a point in the season where I was 300 to 400 at-bats behind the top teams, man, and you can't win that way. So a lot of it was injuries and guys getting hurt on a Tuesday, and this is a weekly league, so I kept falling behind. But yeah, just the guys did not go for a lot here. There was only a few $40 players. I didn't even get any $40 players. So I got 2 guys 30 or more, and then a bunch in the 20s. I didn't pay for pitching, but even some of the pitchers went cheap, man. It was very weird just how cheap. And, you would be like, well, why didn't you jump on more players? Well, how many guys can I spend $20 on?
Right. You
I
can't.
got Varsho for 20, Bichette 33, Riley 30, Lindor 22, Rosarena 24, Eloy Jimenez 15, Strider 25, Clase 18. That's the other thing, too, with the closer market. Diaz was the first closer, I think. He went 21. So Clase comes out. I get him at 18. I'm like, oh, wow. I got a bargain. $3 less. Diaz usually goes ahead of Clase. I've been in drafts where Clase has gone ahead of Diaz, but generally it's Diaz. And then like 5-6 picks later, Clase goes, okay, $3. Clase probably gets more saves than Diaz because that team tends to play closer games. That was last year, though. But Diaz will have more strikeouts. Fine. I really want the saves from the closer. And Clase still gets Ks, not as many as Diaz. Cool. Then I'm watching Jordan Romano, 13. Helsley, 14. Raisel Iglesias, 14. Like, Hader, 16. So there were still guys that got Pete Fairbanks, $7? Like, I don't know, man.
And we don't even know if Pete Fairbanks is going to be getting the majority of saves,
I
right?
think he is.
Like,
that price.
Adam comes into the.
That's a great price for Fairbanks because he's rising up the draft board. They just paid him. Okay, the Rays usually don't pay relievers, so I think he's the guy.
What about Kenley Jansen for $7? I know it's not the most ideal spot, but $7 for saves here.
There was a lot of guys that went way too cheap. I just don't get it. Like this, there was just a lot of guys going low, and then so Ray Murphy held back, and it allowed him to get bets for 33 because I was in on the bets bidding, but I couldn't do it at that point, and I saw how much money, so I said I know he's getting bets. So he got him for 33. Yordan Alvarez for 35, maybe a little cheaper because he still hasn't swung a bat, but I was in on that bidding. So I was pretty much in on a lot of the bidding, but even Trey Turner, he went for 41. I think I might have gone 40. So yeah, there were a couple guys that maybe I'm like, maybe I should have went an extra $1, but yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of, I got several guys early, so that prohibited me from maybe going higher later and getting some players that I really wanted. And maybe I shouldn't have gone 10 on Hoskins. Maybe I should have went a little cheaper at first base. I mean, but Hoskins was 10, Crone 11, Christian Walker was 8. They're all in a similar tier. Matt and Albies at only 18. I know he's coming off a down year, but we saw what he did 2 years ago.
Yep.
I thought I got some, obviously the infield is stacked.
Bichette is excellent. Who you got? I think Albies is great. Riley, I really like. I mean, your infield, you can't really complain about your infield.
Yeah, and even, the one thing that did hurt, and I don't regret it, but when you get Lindor at shortstop at 22 and you take Bichette to lock up your middle infielder, there's a lot of middle infielders that are cheap, and it just didn't allow me to go there because I could have put him a utility spot, but, Oswald Peraza at $1 is nice. I love Willy Adames at 15. But there's a lot of middle infielders that you can get for cheap, and that kind of took me out of that range. Yeah, my outfield is definitely weak, but there's going to be outfielders on the waiver wire. And my pitching is obviously got some – I don't have big names. Strider in Class A is good. Lodolo. Charlie Morton, I think, is still fine. He had over 200 strikeouts last year. He really got hurt by the home run, and that's something that's never happened in his career. He's been a heavy ground ball guy. I don't know if it's age-related, but I think he bounces back, and again, on a good team to get wins. Luzardo's a good young arm.
Look, can I comment on something that I heard you say during the broadcast? Well, I'm going to do it anyway because I can do it.
Don't ask if you're going to do it.
Okay, well, you know what? I was trying to be courteous. Well, I'm not going to be courteous.
You're not being courteous because you weren't going to not do it if I said no. So you weren't being courteous.
I was being very courteous.
You were just that's your crutch where you say, "Can I ask you a question?" So you need to get rid of that crutch.
Well, it's not a crutch.
It is.
Like if I'm coming in mid kind of thought, then I feel like I'm still creating that bridge to bring myself back in.
That bridge collapsed.
Don't say that, man. That's happened before in history. Bridges have collapsed. But you were saying on the broadcast that you were talking about the White Sox and just how much Tony La Russa just crapped all over that team essentially last season. So I got to ask you, man, now that with La Russa's out of the way, How are you feeling about this White Sox team as a whole?
Good. I mean, I think there was just this negative feeling around that team, and they have a lot of talent, and a lot of guys underperformed. So, yeah, I think they should be better. Eloy Jimenez was, I just felt he was too cheap at that price. I know there's definitely risk with him. He has not shown the ability to stay healthy. He is in better shape. He wants to play the outfield. I don't know why, just DH to keep you healthy. So, I just felt at that point, I think, I had one outfielder at that point. I think I had some money. I don't know, my man. Again, I guess the only thing is maybe I could have allocated more money for starting pitchers. I mean, some of these guys went cheap. I mean, Zach Gallen and Christian Javier for $20. I was trying to get Freddie Peralta, and because he was on the board a long time, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to get Freddie Peralta. And I guess there were a couple other people that had money too, and I wasn't able to get him. Trying to see, did he go for $8-9? I don't see him now. Hold on.
Let me look. Peralta went for
$8.
$8. Yes.
Yeah, man. I should have gotten him instead of Lodolo, I think.
What do you think of Ryan Hallam? We're actually going to be joined by Ryan Hallam in the next couple of days to talk about his team from fantasyalarm.com. What do you think of Hallam's pitching here? I mean, Manoah for 22, Bieber for 20, Cease for 18, Presley for 11, Cortez for 10, Gilbert for 7. I think he did a pretty good job with his pitching staff.
Yeah, I was surprised Cease went for only 18. I think I threw him out, and I was expecting him to go for like 25 because I didn't want him. And as much as the thing with Cease is I think he's just being overvalued where he's being drafted in snake leagues because I don't see him repeating that ERA. The strikeouts are good, but he led major league starters in walks. So I just don't see him having the same success. But even that price was too cheap. And, we talked about, I mean, it just was too cheap. So I was a little surprised that he only went for 18. But even Sandy
227 strikeouts last year, a sub-3 ERA, 2.2 ERA.
Yeah, his ERA is going to be over 3, and I'm a little worried about the whip. But he could still have a good year. So I do still think 18 was too cheap for him. Just a lot of these starters, man. Alcantara, $24.
Is it Alcantara or Alcantara? Have we figured that out yet?
I don't know.
Yeah, it should be. Both should be allowed.
But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of cheap pitchers. Darvish for 19, Framber Valdez 17. I probably should have went the extra dollar. I was in on that bidding. I think I said 16. I should have won another dollar. DeGrom only went for 16. He was thrown out early, and
like you don't think people are paranoid about the side or anything like that, right?
No, they're worried. They're worried about him staying healthy. There's no question about it. I mean, that's one where I'm like, maybe I should have won 17. I mean, the same guy took DeGrom and Musgrove.
Right.
But you know what? I'm not really as worried about Musgrove. I regret not taking him in TGFBI because he fell. And it doesn't sound like he's going to miss too much time. It is a toe. I know it's just push-off toe, but it's not an arm. It's not a shoulder.
What about Blast now at 8?
Nah, I ain't messing with that. Look, there's unlimited ILs in this league. So I understand you have the more ability as compared to the NFBC where you don't have that. The thing with Glass now, though, is you already knew going into the year you weren't getting 150 innings out of him. So it's kind of the same thing. Like, it's like, okay, well, all right, fine. He's hurt to start the year. Well, he's going to be on an innings limit anyway. So does it really change much? But still, the guy has thrown over 100 innings once in his career, and he came in 2018. So I think in this league, it's more acceptable just because, again, now once waivers runs, you put them on the IL and you pick someone else up. So I think it's more feasible in this format. But I was not going to be in on the bidding. I don't want to start the year with a guy hurt already, and then we still have a month to go. Not a month, but 3 weeks to the season starts, and then another guy gets hurt. Then the guy gets hurt in a week, and now you got 3 guys hurt. I just don't want to deal with that.
What are your thoughts in general about 2 catcher leagues? Because, again, I see some of these catchers. I just think it's unnecessary, bro. I really do. I don't think you don't need to start 2 catchers here. I mean, why dollar value catcher that you got Trevino for $1. So many of these guys are starting dollar value catchers at this point. I just never understood the allure of 2-catcher leagues. Why do 2-catcher leagues exist?
I mean, again, it's been around for a while, and it's strategy. I mean, if you have one catcher, no one's going to spend. They'll spend on the top few, and then everyone's going to wait. So I'm good either way. I mean, people complain about everything, but whatever the rules are, I deal with it.
Yep, absolutely. You got Hoskins for $10. Some of the other first basemen that went. Josh Bell, we're going to talk about in a few minutes here at $6. CJ Crone at 11. Pete Alonso at 32. Pasquantino at 18. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., $32, dealing with some slight knee discomfort there. Walker at $8. Freddie Freeman, 36. Nathaniel Lowe at 13. Ty France at 4. Wow, Ty France, $4. And Paul Goldschmidt at $30. In your draft, which player caused the most buzz where it seemed that everybody was in on? Were there a few players? I mean, generally when you get to the A-list guys who are going in the first and second rounds of snake drafts, obviously they draw more interest. But even than some of the tier down type of players, were there any players that you saw most of the room going in on at all?
No, not that I recall. No, I don't recall anything like that. No.
What about Ohtani? Were you in on him at all?
No, he went pretty cheap too. 26. Yeah, this is a little cheaper, but you could use him at pitcher or hitter.
And I don't know why you'd ever use him at pitcher outside of maybe 1 or 2 isolated weeks during the year and lose out on all those hitting stats. That it just doesn't make sense to me.
It all depends on your team construction.
Right. No, that's true. That's true. By the way, I what about some of these other guys here? Like, for instance, the guy who got Ohtani. Are you, because we haven't really talked about some of these players, are you an Anthony Santander guy?
Yes.
I mean, he went in this one for $8 there. He hit some home runs for you. And this guy got Tyler O'Neill, Brandon Nimmo, Jake McCarthy. This is Ariel Cohen, who your softball buddy. I could just see Ariel Cohen just totally nerding out and this being like the highlight of his year right here in the auction. How pumped was Ariel Cohen being there?
Yeah, he was definitely excited. There's no question about it. Yeah, he tends not to spend big on players. That's the one thing I noticed about him. If you see, he didn't spend more than, $26 was the highest guy he spent on. So he tends to not go and bid on high players, which can work in this league because you get nice balance. I mean, he did spend, he had kind of had the same idea as me at catcher, and he was in on the other catchers too. Went cheap at first base, which I think is viable. I mean, Christian Walker had a big year last year. So yeah, he kind of spread it out as far as the prices, and was able to come away with a good pitching staff though. With Verlander, Edwin Diaz, same thinking as me. Get that one closer. I mean, Andre, a lot of the lower relievers went really cheap, man. Like I liked Munoz at 4. I mean, I know Paul Sewald is there, but Munoz can get some saves. That was a nice buy. There was a lot of cheap relievers that people did not pay for saves in this league at all. I was surprised, man.
Yeah, I see here that Kendall Graveman, for instance, went in the reserve rounds. I mean,
I don't.
Is he going to be picking up saves this year? You don't think?
They said they're going with a committee. I picked up his teammate in the reserve round, Reynaldo Lopez. I think he has a chance to close.
So yes, that's how it happens in these auctions. You have.
Plus, we don't know with Liam Hendricks, his situation. He was also drafted in the reserve round, which is not a bad pick. Now, I don't know. I'm not sure if he can be placed on the IL. I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, if he can, that is a very sharp pick.
I don't want to speak on an issue or anything that I'm not fully knowledgeable of. But I mean, do you think I guess it's based on how he's feeling and everything. I mean, obviously dealing with cancer and recovering from that. Do you see this guy playing?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just he could. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just tough to project.
Yeah, I guess the one thing is it's just these treatments and everything. They take a lot out of your body. They take a ton out of your body. And to get back into that kind of shape, just alone, once treatments are done, will take months. So I don't know how much we're going to be able to see him this year. What was your favorite value on your team? Of all the values that you got, the one player where when you got him at a certain value, you completely popped. You were pumped about it.
Wasn't really pumped about anything, but I'd say probably Lindor at 22.
I mean, look, man, it was good price. You really locked up that middle infield, so that was good there. It's good. You got
even a Rosarena at 24 is pretty good. Pop, speed. Good. I mean, he went for $1 less than Michael Harris usually goes earlier. I mean, Corbin Carroll went for 20. That was a guy I think a lot of people went on. He went for 23, and he's a guy that just keeps rising on draft boards.
Have you seen any rise at all regarding Masataka Yoshida?
No.
$4 that he went.
Yeah, I was in on that bidding. I think I might have went 3.
I guess the big thing with him is he going to be able to fully adjust, or how long will it take him to adjust to pitching on this level? I mean, this guy was a 300 hitter in Japan, and isn't the thing with him is that he's got such a great eye at the plate that he doesn't strike out as much. He walks a lot. I mean, this is someone that's going to be in a very favorable ballpark as well. And I thought maybe he'd draw, again, this is mixed and everything, so it's both the AL and the NL, but I thought that maybe Yoshida would be a little bit more than $4. I guess it also is, when are these guys being brought up here to nomination?
Yeah, a lot has to do with it. I mean, the guy who's been getting all the buzz is Jordan Walker, and he went for $12.
That is what we're looking at here in the labor mixed auction, and you can catch the board. It's all over social media. We've been flashing it up here a few times on Bettor Sports Network, and we'll continue to talk about all of this. And Bettor Sports Network, by the way, presents BettorCast, premiering tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Watch, play, and win by answering predictive questions and trivia about tonight's featured matchup, and have fun chatting with our community while we watch the Southern Conference Championship game together. BettorCast featuring a different live event every night with your chance to win fabulous prizes on the Bettor Sports Network app. Join us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern for Pacific. Tonight's BettorCast matchup is between Chattanooga and Furman for the Southern Conference Championship. Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse will air live on bettorsports.com. So we're splitting a little fork in the road. You want some live action with the chance to win? That is where you go. The BettorCast tonight, and Ed Rouse will be on bettorsports.com. It's funny, Ron, I actually watched 2 double overtime games yesterday. First, my American University Eagles were in double overtime against the Lafayette Leopards. They lost in double overtime. And then the Knicks Celtics in double overtime. So it was a lot of basketball on Sunday yesterday. I've never had that happen to me. 2 double overtime games in the same day, watching them from start to finish. That's a lot of basketball, but hey, that's the life. That's our lives. That's yours as well for all of our Bettor fans. He's Adam Ronis. I'm Justin Fensterman. Let's talk for a little bit about the Cleveland Guardians and talk about who the Roan man is feeling when it comes to fantasy baseball draft potential on the Bettor Sports Network.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Bettor Sports Network. Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
We're talking catchers. And Ray, as we jump into this position, traditionally, this has been a position that you kind of say, well, there's like 2-3 guys and the rest is just junk. And gosh, I'm in a 2-catcher league. How in the hell am I going to fill 2 spots, in this 12-man league? And it's such a struggle after the 8th catcher. Like, fair to say it's different now? I mean, I know it's not great, but it feels like the best catcher pool I've seen in a while, like at least a half decade, in terms of, wow, we've got some hitters, we've got guys, and I know they're not exclusively catchers, and the DH is helping, certainly, but it looks like we're going, 10, 12 deep at least of feeling good about catchers, I think.
I tier the players at positions because I think that's a really good way to look at them. And when you tier players, you're basically putting guys that are likely to produce similar levels of production in the same tier. One guy might be batting average, one guy might be home runs, that kind of a thing, but basically the same end result value-wise. I have 2 guys on the elite tier. I then have 9 guys or 8 guys on the next tier, And then I go all the way to 22 on the third tier, which basically almost gets us to that, 2 catchers in the 24, 12-team league kind of thing. So I agree with you. And I think that even if you look beyond that, there's some names that are outside my top 20 that I could easily see being top 15 catchers this year. So yeah, it's not wow, but it's good overall. We got some young guys coming in that are dynamic players to help out some of the older guys that are still hanging on. It's better than it has been. I agree with you.
It's actually very young, Ray. And that, I mean, you look at Varsho, Rauschman, William Contreras, Kirk, Melendez, Cal Riley's semi-young, but Hebert Ruiz. And there's still other guys coming up that are in the minors right now. That's, we used to always say all these young catchers, just catch, don't worry about hitting. These are guys are coming up with some skill sets as well.
Yeah, and the game is different now, right? Back in the day, you were an old dude that had no athleticism. You were good at blocking balls, and we hoped you'd pop 15 home runs, right? That was kind of the MO. Now it's different. Now we get more athletic guys. It's not that, you have to be some dumpy, slow guy catching. You can be an athletic player that can play other positions, as you noted. So I think the youngsters are bringing more athleticism, kind of like the tight end position in football, right? It's like there is more athleticism at the tight end spot than there was 25 years ago. I think it's the same way at the catcher spot.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
Billy Mays Hayes here. Play like Mays, I run like Hayes.
Preparations for the 2023 fantasy baseball season have begun, and the playbook is taking a daily look at each team's hitting.
Straight ball, I hit it very much. Curveball, that's our friend.
And pitching.
Of course, if the umps are watching me close, I just rub a little jalapeno inside my nose, get it running.
You put snot on the ball?
Oh, he got into that one. Way out of here. The Guardians take the lead on the 29th homer of the year by Jose Ramirez.
We're getting you ready for the upcoming baseball season with the Bettor Baseball Preview. From fantasy baseball to MLB betting and the newest baseball cards for 2023, you can access our exclusive content for free right now at bettorsports.com, featuring some of the best baseball minds in the industry like Adam Ronis, Ray Flowers, Kyle Elfrink, and Cody Decker. Get player profiles, prop bets, and future sleepers and bust fantasy draft strategy, collectibles, and more at no cost. Please register with your name and email at bettorsports.com right now and get instant access plus notifications when new features are released. Go to bettorsports.com and sign up for the Bettor Baseball Preview. Look at that, Rome, man. Front and center. Your name first when it came to the industry experts. You're the one seed, Rome.
Oh, it should be, right?
That's right. Very good representation right there. So make sure you check it out there to get to see Adam Ronis talk about baseball, kind of like what you're going to do right now here. The Cleveland Guardians are up when it comes to our team preview. Some of these teams we've gone way longer than others. Others we've spent 5 minutes when we've needed to, and that's it, and then moved on. The Guardians, plus 2,200 to win the World Series, plus 1,100 on DraftKings Sportsbook to win the AL, and then favorites, plus 135 to win the AL Central, with their line for total wins for the year being 86.5. The over at minus 120 on DK, the under at plus 100. So, Rome, let's talk about this team and a couple of the players. Obviously, Jose Ramirez coming off of an incredible year, around 130 RBIs for him. So we know how good he is. We don't need to go too crazy with that. What about some of these other guys, though, here? I mean, you got Andres Jimenez, who hit 17 homers, almost 300 last year. You also have Josh Bell, who had about 17 homers as well. Naylor, 20 homers with a 256 average. Who on this team stands out that is actually, if it were in a snake draft, we won't talk about from the auction yesterday, but who are some of your active targets from this team?
No one really. I mean, just Ramirez. I mean, Steven Kwan is a guy that depends on roster construction. He doesn't have much power. He's got some speed and good average. I tend not to like those guys that don't hit for power. I mean, Rosario okay, but shortstop's pretty deep. Doesn't have an elite power. Josh Bell's in a range of a lot of other first basemen. Naylor's fine. 18th, 19th, 20th round. I'm okay with him. So, yeah, I mean, no one's a target on this offense for me.
Now, a guy like, because we've talked about this before, and we could go back to the Malik Smiths of the world and stuff like that, the Billy Hamiltons, even maybe the D. Gordons of the world. Do you ever target just stolen bases? Like, for instance, a Miles Straw didn't hit for a good average last year, no power, 0 home runs, but he did steal 21 bags. A guy like that, I know it's all privy to where you're at in the draft, but a guy like that, you don't really see as extremely valuable, right?
No, I mean, and there was hype on him last year. He didn't lead off. He's probably not projected lead off. He's never hit more than 4 home runs in a season. No, you got to find stolen bases elsewhere. You can't rely on a Miles Straw. It's not good.
I think what people do is they obsess over the stolen base numbers last year and don't realize, well, what if you get guys who are multi-category producers who stole, 10 to 15 bases last year? Then that all adds up. Then you've got about 4 or 5 guys that you're getting at least 10 bags from. Bases are bigger, so maybe that benefits them a little bit more. I was actually mentioned Cody Decker, former player, big leaguer for a short time, in our preview here for the Better Baseball preview. And one of the things he said about the bases being bigger is that the catchers are going to have to change their approach when trying to throw guys out at second base. I think he said something like they're going to have to shift a few inches to the left or right, something that's different from where they're used to being placed at that point. So that's something that could come of it and could be beneficial to the base runner, obviously, depending on speed. But there are too many people that just target the one category to try to check a box. Why check one box when you can check a few boxes? Have a guy that can hit you maybe 15 to 20 homers, not crush your batting average, steal you a few bags along the way, because everything adds up. And that's why those guys, like the names that I just mentioned, really never that valuable, but people make them more valuable when focusing on that specific category. And that's pretty much it. When it comes to the pitching side of things, now, Roan, you were able to get Manuel Clase coming off that 42 save season, 1.36 ERA. You feeling, I know that you invested in him. Can you see him having a very close to repeat performance of these great numbers going into this year?
Or who? Clase?
Yes.
Yeah, why would I pay for him if I didn't think that? Come on, bro. I just told you before that Diaz was the 1 and Clase 2. So yeah, I do see that. He's had an ERA 2 years in a row, 1.29, 1.36, 42 saves last year. He doesn't walk anybody. He doesn't have the elite strikeout rate of Edwin Diaz. He's at 28.4% last year. He induces a ton of ground balls, a lot of weak contact. So yeah, he's one of the safer guys. He's only 24 years old and has now done it 2 years in a row. So he's the guy. If I don't get Diaz, I'm getting him. I already took him in a draft champions league in round 3, and then I spent $18 on him in that labor auction. So yeah, I want one of the top closers if I can get them, because it's just so many questionable situations, committees. So I want to get one solid one if I could. And that's why I paid up for Clase at 18. Once I saw Diaz go for 21, I'm like, all right, he's probably going to go for 20. So I got him at 18. I was like, okay, cool. I'll take, $3 cheaper than Diaz. Diaz obviously is going to get more strikeouts, but pretty much what you're looking for is the saves. And as long as the strikeout rate is solid, then, if he's going to give me another 72 and 2/3 innings and then get me 77 to 80 strikeouts with 40 saves and a good whip, I'm going to take it.
Do you think this team can come out of the AL? What do you think their chances are of doing so? I know that the odds indicate that people do think so, but what about you? Do you see this team contending for the World Series when all's said and done?
No, I don't. I was surprised last year that they played as well as they did. This team doesn't invest money in this team. They usually get rid of guys. They don't have enough here, man. The pitching is not bad. Bieber's good. McKenzie's good. Savali's a good late pick because he changed his pitch mix over the last couple months, and the results were really good. His overall numbers don't tell that. They have Karinchak in the bullpen as well. So they have some good arms here, but they're not a World Series contender. There's too many teams in the AL that are better than them. They play in a division that's winnable. I mean, again, I think the White Sox will be better. Minnesota solid. Kansas City and Detroit still not there. So they can win a division, sure. So that puts them in the playoffs, but it's not as good as some of the other AL teams up top.
You're talking about some of the starting pitching there. Cal Quantrill had 15 wins last year, 128 strikeouts for him. The Cleveland Guardians, part of our baseball previews that we're doing here on the playbook, not going in any specific order, just trying to go, hey, sometimes we're going to go with a heavier team with fantasy value, and then other days we're going to go light there. Just trying to switch it up a little bit, throw different teams at you. We talked a lot of baseball, talked a little bit of football, gave our first plays of the day for NBA. Let's talk more plays, but not without a little futures market talk. Let's go over especially the Western Conference standings and which teams from the Western Conference could be having a little bit of an easier time. Let's just say if Ja Morant does not come back. Now, we can't assume anything right now. It's under investigation by the league. There's no timetable, meaning that this can either end in 3 weeks from now, or it can end in about 3 to 5 days from now. Missing a couple of games, though, is really all that we're confirmed for. So you can probably think that for at least this week, part of next week, probably unlikely that you're going to see him in the mix. But the team is waiting on the league before they take further action regarding Ja Morant. Tyus Jones going to be taking over things there, along with Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr., and a whole bunch of injuries too. With Brandon Clark going down, by the way, if Xavier Tillman is out there on your wire, that's someone, I mean, you should have picked him up before. Now it gives him a little bit more of a safety net. When Adams does eventually heal up with the sprained knee and does decide to come back, then he'll be able to get some backup minutes too. And let's say Jaren Jackson is in foul trouble, even though he's done a good job of that, a better job this year, then he could shift down to power forward as well. I know they have Aldama there, but Tillman's a little bit more on the gritty side when it comes to toughness. So if they need the size inside to clog up that paint, my opinion, they're going Tillman over Aldama. They need the offense and a little bit of floor stretching. They're going to go with Santi Aldama. That's what Memphis is dealing with right now. Let's talk about some of the other teams in the Western Conference when looking at futures here on Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Monday Night Rants, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
Do you believe in the Madden curse? Do you think that's a real thing?
I did. Now, I don't think it's as big of a deal anymore, but it was a real thing for a solid 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it was Sean Alexander, LaDainian Tomlinson, Peyton Hillis.
LT was never on the cover. I know that.
Was he not? I thought he was one. Okay, well, you do know all the covers of everything.
Yeah, okay. So if you want, I could do this real quick. So Garrison Hurst is the first official Madden cover athlete, 1999. 2000, I believe they still put John Madden on the cover. And then 2001 is where it all started. So 2001, you have Eddie George. 2002, Dante Culpepper. 2003, Marshall Falk. 04, Michael Vick. 05, Ray Lewis, first defensive player on the cover.
Okay.
06, Donovan McNabb. 07, Sean Alexander.
Okay.
08, Vince Young. 09, Brett Favre.
Okay.
10 is a trick one because it's
no way you know.
And Larry Fitzgerald. 11, Drew Brees. 12, Peyton Hillis. 13, Calvin Johnson, I believe so.
You're right.
14.
No way you know all these.
14, also a trick question.
Uh-huh.
I believe that's the Madden 25 cover, and it's Barry Sanders, unless you got it for the new consoles, in which case Adrian Peterson
oh my God.
was on the cover.
You're not cheating. You're not looking at...
Swear on my life. Swear on my life.
Okay, keep on going.
15, we have Richard Sherman.
Okay.
16, hold on. 16 is Odell Beckham.
Okay.
16. 17, now this is the one I get mixed up because 17 and 18 are back-to-back Patriots.
They are.
17, I think, is Gronk, and 18 is Brady.
You are correct.
19 is Antonio Brown.
Correct.
20, Patrick Mahomes.
My goodness.
21, Lamar Jackson. 22, Brady Mahomes. 23, John Madden. Yeah, dude, I'm a covered nerd when it comes to this album.
We now know, but that was really impressive. I don't know how.
Thank you.
That's literally 29 of them or something like that. Wow, that is. You did not miss a single one, and you even got the special editions where they had 2 people on the covers.
Monday Night Rants, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
Got a little present for you. Something that'll make you rich. You want to be rich, don't you?
You're gonna make me rich?
The shake. Gets the roll. Dazzling from John Morant.
He understands he's made some difficult decisions and poor choices in the past that he's got to account for. And that's why, you see in his statement, it speaks for itself that he understands he's got to get help to get into a better place, not just for himself, but also for his team, and embracing, the mistakes that he's made. But only time will tell. We're going to support him, as I said, and we're going to hold him accountable to make those changes.
It's time for Fantasy and Ronas to look at the remainder of the NBA season and give you their best bets for division champs, conference champs, and more.
All you got to do is bet on the winner, and you'll never lose.
Justin Fensterman, Adam Ronas back with you on the Playbook on Bettor Sports Network. And with that, looking at the future of the Memphis Grizzlies, luckily for them, because we don't know what they're going to be dealing with long-term when it comes to Ja Morant. When I say long-term, Ron, the season, it's over in about a month. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, we're almost here. Playoffs are just around the corner. So now we're going to start to see guys sit out a lot more too. That's something to keep an eye on. The team's tanking, so got to be aware of that.
Yep. Somebody that I'm wondering if they're going to start sitting in the same division, the Southwest, as the Memphis Grizzlies. Zach Collins, going to see more of Charles Bassey. Wrote a little thing about him up at fantasyalarm.com. By the way, Ron, congratulations. Kicked my ass pretty good once again in your home fantasy basketball league. I brought it down to 7-2, and then you brought it back up to 8-1. So it was no contest right there, Ron. Congratulations on that.
I mean, kind of expected at this point, isn't it?
Ooh,
I'm saying
you're the best team in the league. Yes.
You don't have a good team.
Do you really not think I have a good team?
Okay, guys, I need Adam. Adam, I got to ask you a question here, okay? You're objective here. So
Here, go for it.
All right. So I am in first place, right? So by 8 games. So I have a pretty good team. So if I tell you, I'm not going to, okay, this team is 74, 92, and 5 in 9th place, 37 games out of first place. Would you say that's a good team?
That is a subpar team, to put it politely.
Okay. That's Fensley's team. So you want to say that's a good team, Fensley?
No, it hasn't performed well.
Okay.
It hasn't performed well. No, that's true. I can't say it's a good team.
Okay.
Thank you for making me feel this way.
I was kidding. Adam, do you notice how dejected he just sounded and how he looks? Like it just looks
because
like...
I hate this. I hate being in this position right here. But do I run away from it? No. I still talk about it. How many people would talk about it being in that place and not bring it up? I don't have to bring it up on the show at all.
I didn't even bring it up.
I brought it up.
You did.
I did bring it up.
So
you were paying attention for once. Thank you.
But no, don't pin this on me now that your team sucks.
Listen.
Don't get mad at me.
I'm not mad at. Well, I'm mad at you, not at you, but I'm mad that I can't make the playoffs in your league. And
you have Damian Lillard, and you can't make the playoffs.
I know that, and I don't know why. I don't get it, and that's why when I look at this team and think of, well, what would I have done differently? Because again, it's not like I've got a few dead pieces on this team. It's just not performing well. And I don't know how to fix it. Well, it's too late now. But I don't know how to fix it. I guess I should have been open to making that trade with East Coast Slamma-Jamma for LaMelo Ball for 8 of his bench players at this point.
It probably would have been better off at this point. But I don't look, this was their 3rd year in the league?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you've told me the same thing the last 2 that next year I'm getting in the playoffs. So you might want to try. You might want to try
to make the playoffs.
You want to make the playoffs? Okay.
I can't, Ronas. I can't guarantee shit in this league. Okay,
it's pretty clear.
Let's be real. I can't guarantee anything.
Are you embarrassed when you look at some of the names ahead of you?
It's not the names. I'm just embarrassed at myself. Okay. That's why I want to make the playoffs in this league. and I haven't been able to.
I mean, the guy who has your bobblehead is ahead of you.
You know what's funny? I thought that was a bit the whole time, but now I'm starting to get the feeling that you actually sold it to this guy for $50. You sold a bobblehead that you got for me for $50. That's amazing.
I mean, this economy is rough, bro.
And I get that. But I kind of thought you got that as a gift for me. You know, I thought that when you got that with your dates at the time when you went to Gary Cohen night at Citi Field, I kind of thought that you were jazzed up. You texted me. You literally texted me while you were at the game with both bobbleheads, and you went, guess which one is yours? And I texted you back saying, neither. And you said, good answer, but the one on the right is yours. And, I got to say, man, that Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling have been very lonely on my bobblehead collection that you could kind of see right here.
Why don't you play with them?
Well, I do play with them. That's
I'm sure you do.
I do play with them. Yeah. I bobble their heads. That's what you do with bobbleheads.
I know.
You know it. But if you notice, Ron, look, all three of them are right there. Somebody else got me the Gary Cohen bobblehead, Ron.
Who got it for you?
My cousin, actually.
Dude, man, you just ruined it.
What?
Oh, man. Are you serious? Is he there? Let me see.
You want me to leave the shot and get it?
Okay, let me see if he's really there.
You talk to the audience, Ron.
I can't believe. Wait, where is he going? I thought it was right behind him. Didn't he just say, "Oh, you have to go that far to get it"?
Yes, it's in the back.
Reach over there and get it?
No, it's in the back of my studio right here.
Oh, damn, that sucks because I actually do have it for you, and I was giving it to you next week.
Oh, come on, really?
You want me to go get it?
Yeah, no.
He literally just texted me.
I just texted out.
Like, what the hell, man? I've been waiting for months for this. My birthday pass, Hanukkah pass.
I knew I was seeing you next week, so I was going to bring it.
Oh, well, still bring it. Can I tell you why?
Why?
Number one, I'll put it somewhere else. It's Gary freaking Cohen, one of the best broadcasters alive, number one. So I will take it. But number two, so when I got the Keith Hernandez one, so as you guys know from this bobblehead here, so it has a Mets backdrop, and it's chopped up into three pieces, and you put them all together, you have the entire logo. I didn't realize that when I was given the Keith Hernandez one, so I threw this little piece of parchment or whatever away when I got the Keith one. So what I was thinking I could do, if you ever did manage to give me that, I could take this portion, turn it upside down, and it makes it look from the naked eye from afar like I have the completed
logo. All right,
logo.
I'll give it to you next week.
Pretty smart, though, to think of it like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, man, the Gary Cohen one. My cousin must have been one day listening, and he's like, which one of these bobbleheads that you keep talking about are you missing? And I'm like, I'm missing Gary. And he's like, and I'm like, I think my co-host has it for me. So, he's like, well, now you'll have two. I'm sending it down. And he's a big Mets fan, my cousin. One of the
now I can sell mine.
So, well, you don't have to sell your.
Okay.
Well, can you?
Hey, Marty, if you're watching, if you want to buy it, you can really buy it this time.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to, he can. But the thing was, when he sent it down to me, he also sent me some Jacob deGrom bobbleheads because he's very upset that deGrom isn't a member of the Mets anymore. So I had to.
Yeah, I have Scherzer, right? That's the other one I have.
I got a deGrom Cy Young one, but yes.
I have the Scherzer strikeout counter that they gave out this past year.
That's cool, though, because you can change the number, right?
You
push a button and the number increases. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. I like that bobbleheads with things. The one thing that the Mets, I wish they did, and the Yankees sprung for this and the Mets didn't, they should have built in a little voice box in it with like calls. Like a lot of the new age sports broadcaster bobbleheads, and even some of the old ones too that I have, they have actual broadcast calls. My Bob Uecker one has 5 different calls span throughout Brewers history. He's been with the team like 55 years. So I was hoping that was going to happen with the Mets, but they cheaped out.
Because you're home a lot alone, so you need like people to talk to you, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, how about having great broadcast calls? I mean, being that I am a broadcaster, it shouldn't surprise you that some of the best broadcast calls are some of the best things I've ever heard.
Right.
Right? That doesn't surprise you.
No, not at all.
Let me ask you this. you don't seem as obsessed, like you're a sports broadcaster. You don't seem as obsessed with broadcasting and the field as I am.
I'm more obsessed with women than broadcasters, but that's me.
You could be obsessed with both.
Yeah, you can, but I'm obsessed with women more. That's all.
We know that. No hot take there, Road. We know that. But I mean, you don't see. I mean,
I'd rather a bobblehead or a bobble booty of a, of some college basketball coaches on the female side.
Put it in the books.
I should come up with that, right? Bobble booties.
Bobble booties.
Right?
Oh man, they would sell probably too.
They probably would, right?
Yeah, you think so?
Definitely.
Crazy. Wow. That's some business. Little side venture, but yes, this is my Gary Cohen bobblehead here. We don't talk a ton of collectibles on this show. Other shows do, but yep, part of a set of 3 with Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, and Ron Darling. Bobble booties. I like that, Ron. Who would be the example? It would be what, Ashanti? If you had to pick, you had to give an example. We're going to sell bobble booties to a big business here. Who would be the example that you would give?
I'd have to think about that. Because we got to make sure we get this right.
Yes, you do. The curves have to be very accurate as well, Ron. You're onto something. You're also going to have to be the artist. You realize that?
I'm the CEO.
You're the CEO. Part of the FBI, Federal Booty Inspector.
Yeah, I have to make sure they all have to come into my office. I got to make sure if they fit the model that we're looking for.
Absolutely right there. Yes, for sure. So Rodas with the new business idea. I love it. Look at you being very creative right here. We go from bobbleheads to bobble booties. How the hell did we get to this point here? Well, let me tell you that Bettor Sports Network presents Bettor Cast, not Better Booty, Ronas. Bettor Cast. It's premiering
I'm still going to tune in, though.
What's that?
I'm still going to tune in.
To Better Booty or Bettor Cast?
No, Bettor Cast. Come on.
Good for you. You're a company guy.
I am.
Bettor Cast premiering tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, right after us. Watch, play, and win by answering predictive questions and trivia about tonight's featured matchup, and have fun chatting with our community while we watch the Southern Conference Championship game together. Bettor Cast featuring a different live event every night with your chance to win fabulous prizes on the Bettor Sports Network app. Join us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. Tonight's Bettor Cast matchup is between Chattanooga and Furman for the Southern Conference Championship. Monday Night Rants with Ed Rouse will air on bettorsports.com. He's Adam Ronas, part of the new CEO and principal owner of Bobble Booties. I'm Justin Fensterman, hopefully to be a full-time employee there as well. This is the Playbook with Fensty and Ronas. Let's go over tonight's slate of games. We got 6 games going on. We'll go over who's in, who's out, what props we like here on BSN.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Bettor Sports Network. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronas, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern.
People are always very critical when it comes to fantasy baseball. I would say this, and I'm a big fantasy basketball guy. I love fantasy football. There's no fantasy sport that's even close to being as hard as baseball. The season, having to figure out, especially if you're playing weekly, which I don't like to play. Weekly with the 2 starts, having to look at the schedule and everything. I mean, you play in basketball as well. There's no fantasy sport that's harder or more involved than baseball. It takes forever. You take a whole night to do your fab on Sundays.
Yeah, baseball is the most challenging, and I think that's why the popularity has gone down. People don't want to work. They don't want to put in the time. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. You have to know the player pool. That's why I love doing these 15-team, 50-round drafts. I mean, 750, 800 players. You lower all the minor leaguers. I took Spencer Strider last year in my first draft Champions League in round 40, and that turned out to be a phenomenal pick. So it puts you on to knowing everything about every team. And yeah, it's a lot of work. So I definitely think that
It's a challenge, and I just feel like people don't want to put in time and work anymore. And I'm not saying fantasy football is easy. It's not. But you cannot tell me that fantasy football is more difficult than fantasy baseball. I play both sports. I don't have an allegiance to either one. I love both. I play both. But, fantasy baseball is a grind, man. You got to put in months of preparation. Spring training is important. They helped me get Carlos Rodon a couple years ago. I was not on him until the spring, seeing the velocity and the changes. So there's a lot of things you can discover in the spring. And this is the first real full spring training that we've had in years. Now, there is the WBC that is going to cut into it a little bit, and some guys will not be at camp. But the spring can help you discover. And again, you're talking about, even if you're in a 12-team league, I mean, you're probably going to have 23 to 30 roster spots. And then the 15-team leagues and the model leagues, I mean, you got to know a lot. I mean, it takes a lot of skill to win a fantasy baseball title. We've seen it, right? You can have like an average player win a fantasy football league. Like, we've all been in leagues where like, yeah, this guy's not that good. He's probably going to win a championship at some point. Things break right. He has a great draft, picks up a player off the waiver wire. That's not happening in fantasy baseball, man. You do not see bad players win fantasy baseball championships. You just don't. It's a 6-month season. You can't afford to take a week or two off from Fab. You can't do it. Last year, say you took off the week where Taylor Ward was the big pickup. You lost a player that was a contributor most of the season. I know we had a couple of down periods, and Taylor Ward was a player I added in multiple leagues, but you can't take that time off. You can't afford to miss out. And, every little detail is important. So I know fantasy baseball is not as popular as it used to be, but I personally feel it's because people don't want to work hard. They just don't. Everyone wants the easy way out now. They want easy access. That's why people don't read anymore. They want a quick video. Fantasy baseball is a lot of work, trust me. But you know what? When you win a championship, it's really gratifying.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
Here's Garland. Garland waltzes into the forward court, dumps off to Mitchell. Mitchell, good crossover dump. Hey! And drains the three. Put him on ice, brother. This is the set he ran, hitting that game-winning three against Philadelphia. Tatum kicks. Horford! No! That's it! The Knicks outlast the Celtics in Boston.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Bettor Sports Network.
For those that watched that thriller last night between the Knicks and the Celtics, and you just heard some final call there, you would not have thought that the Knicks would outlast the Celtics. You would have thought that the Knicks would have been losers by 10 points. But then somehow, some way, the Celtics luckily got a little bit cold for them because the Knicks, they were giving up offensive rebounds. Celtics just kept firing away from downtown, had to rely on Al Horford in that game, missed a three right at the end, and the Knicks were able to hold on there. And with that, before we talk about tonight's slate of games, got another shoe that has fallen at the quarterback position in football. Talked about earlier, Derek Carr joining the New Orleans Saints. Well, we've got a quarterback that's going to be sticking around here, Geno Smith. So it's funny, Carr completed fewer than 61% of his passes. Well, this guy completed nearly 70% of his passes. The most accurate, if not one of the top accurate quarterbacks, 30 touchdowns and 11 picks last year for Geno Smith. Who could have seen that coming? Going into the year, Geno Smith and Drew Lock were battling it out to see who would start for that Seattle offense. And we talked about DK Metcalf going in the third, fourth round in fantasy drafts. No thank you. Tyler Lockett going a little bit later on. Those that jumped in got some serious value. But speaking of serious value, Roan, we're seeing Geno Smith sticking with the Seattle Seahawks. And according to reports, it's a 3-year, $105 million contract for this guy. I mean, who could have seen this coming? If we were talking, be like, hey, a year ago, let's look into the future. Geno Smith getting $100 million. You would have thought we were taking crazy pills.
No question about it. No one saw this coming. I mean, he was never productive most of his career. People thought Seattle were going to be rebuilding. And he had a phenomenal season. It was definitely one of the best waiver wire pickups if you had issues at quarterbacks. Had two good receivers to throw to, but you could see the maturity level too in his leadership. So it really is one of the amazing stories that we've seen recently in the NFL at the quarterback position.
mean, this guy has been around since 2013. Carr got drafted a year later, 2014, but with Geno Smith, he got drafted by the Jets, was expected to take over there. He did for a little bit, but you look at some of the pass attempts here he's thrown because he then served as a backup a lot. And the last time he had at least 360 pass attempts, he completed fewer than 60% of his passes, nearly gained 10 whole percent in the years between there or in 2022 compared to 2015 or 2014, nearly 10% improvement, nearly 70% for this guy. I mean, he threw 30 touchdown passes, was just incredible. And I'm sure that all of the Tyler Lockett owners, I mean, they have to rejoice in thinking this was Geno Smith. And you talked about the maturity with him. Seattle firmly believes in him. They're sticking with him. We'll get the exact numbers when we have them. We thank our producers, by the way, Adam Bernard, the resource, and Isaiah Groves as well for keeping watch of the news while we're on here. Monday Night Rants on deck here, bettorsports.com, the Bettorcast on the app. So little split programming coming at you. But Geno Smith, after Derek Carr now going to the Saints, Geno Smith sticking with the Seattle Seahawks. We'll have to see what happens next. We'll know by the time we hit air tomorrow what the deal is with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. So we'll be able to talk about that a little bit more and some of the other quarterbacks. Where are they going to go with Carr going to New Orleans? You're going to probably be seeing Jameis Winston ousted from that. And
it's by the way, it's 3 years, 105 million.
That's that. It's official. Wow.
Yeah, that's what's being reported.
Rome, Geno Smith just got $105 million. Geno Smith.
Crazy.
Like, just this 1 year, this one 18-week season, just put $100 million in his pocket. 18 weeks of hard work, $100 million in this pocket. Where you think maybe after what you would think he would do here, if we were talking a year ago now, I mean, maybe he's fighting for a backup role. But no, he's fighting for a backup contract, probably worth $2-3 million, $105 million for the next 3 years of service for Geno Smith. Good for him. I'm happy for him. This guy's getting clowned. Generally, when you're on the Jets, especially in the 2010s, you were getting clowned anyway. This guy getting clowned, not taken seriously, people not drafting their receivers because of Geno Smith and his crappiness, turns it all around. Amazing. And to see him get paid after all of this, $105 million for literally 18 weeks, 18 games. And that's that, or 17 games. And that's that. And it's just incredible seeing the money that's being thrown around here. Just absolutely astonishing. Wonder what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson tomorrow. We will have to. And by the way, Isaiah Groves bringing this one up too. I mean, Daniel Jones, we were talking about him. Will he be a $40 million man? Daniel Jones, the money these quarterbacks are getting these days, Roan, absolutely insane. Look at what Russell Wilson is getting paid. These quarterbacks, I mean, spread the wealth a little bit. Get these wide receivers paid. Get these running backs paid.
Well,
these
receivers are getting paid. Running backs aren't.
Right. I mean, let's spread it a little bit, though. I mean, these quarterbacks are making an insane amount of money. Just absolutely incredible doing that there. Ron, we could have 18 good shows. And you know what we'd get for it? If we had 18 of the best ever sports media shows ever, you know what we'd get for it?
Nothing.
Exactly. Absolutely nothing. We get a 19th show.
We're in the wrong business.
Yes, exactly. Man, why couldn't I be athletic? Why? I couldn't be athletic. I could just bowl.
I mean, you're a bowler, man. Be proud.
I am proud. I should have become a professional bowler. I could have been Pete Weber at this point here. I mean, those bowlers, Ron, they're sponsored. They get a lot of sponsors, those bowlers. That's where the money is.
Do they get a lot of ladies?
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, if you're on TV, I know it's bowling and people tend to not take it seriously. If you're on TV, though, and you're sponsored, I'm guessing you also get the ladies too, right? I just wouldn't go on a bowling date at that point.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
No. Bowling dates. That's the thing. I'm just too competitive with that, mini golf and everything like that.
Yeah,
That-
I'm sure they'll be intimidated when you roll a 120.
What if I rolled a 180? Then they'll be intimidated. I'll give them
then
something to be intimidated.
They'll have a 200.
Yeah. Ooh. Imagine that. Imagine you go on a date, or if I go on a date, let's just say me, a varsity bowler, 2-year captain, 4-year varsity letterman, and then I go on this date, and the girl's like, I bowled maybe once. I used to have birthday parties when I was 6 years old. She comes out and bowls a 205, and I bowl a 120. That's embarrassing and probably won't get me a second date, right?
That would be great. I would love that.
You know what? I wouldn't build myself up like, oh, I'm this one. I mean, I don't anyway. It's not like I bowled a bunch of 200s in my life. I bowled like maybe 5 games that were 200 or better, and that's it. Highest score at 224. But to get that, you need to at least get 5 strikes in a row. Red rum. Yeah, the ladies love bowlers. I mean, they are.
I was going to say that, but I didn't. Honestly, I was
Red.
thinking that, and I was about to say it, and I was like, you know what? I already made a comment today. I didn't think it was bad, but you never know. So I refrained, but I was thinking the same thing.
Red rum, you couldn't just leave it with Kodai Senga would have saved the day for $8 on Ronus's team or something like that. I mean, come on, red rum. Seriously. Man, bowling. When was the last time you went bowling?
I don't even remember. It's been a long, long time. I actually did go, and the wait was so long that the girl I was with, we were like, yeah, let's get out of here.
What, you went on a Saturday night or something?
Probably. It was a few years back. Because there's a bowling alley not far, and I haven't been back since.
I mean, you could do the whole disco bowling thing, which is great. But the funny thing is with the disco bowling, the prize you win is free bowling games. And you're really going to spend multiple Saturday nights going bowling. I can't see you doing that, going on a bowling date, and then with the same girl a month later going back to the lanes again for a Saturday night. You have to have the bigger pitching arsenal, I feel like.
Yeah, unless it's real fun, but probably not.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too: movies on a date, because it's to me a movie date with someone you're just dating, not in a relationship with a committed relationship, but a movie date. You have to have dinner afterwards, otherwise there's no socialization.
No, you don't have to,
dude. You can't just.
I mean, I haven't been on a movie date in a long time, but what if you want to do the popcorn trick?
What's the popcorn trick? Ooh, what's the popcorn trick? Tell me.
We'll tell you.
Bernard, what's the popcorn trick? Is that your expertise?
No, it's not my expertise. It was somebody who was a genius, figured it out many years before me, but we will tell you off the air. I'll give you half of it. You cut a hole in the bottom of the popcorn tub.
If you give us half of it, he gives us the whole enchilada.
See,
right there.
Justin's been married for 20 years, so he doesn't know these things.
Oh man, the popcorn trick. I like that right there. I like that.
A movie date is a good barometer of whether you can sit with somebody for 2 hours and do nothing and still be okay with them. I think that's important too.
Yeah.
You're going to spend a lot of time watching if things go well, you're going to be spending time watching TV and stuff like that. So I think that's a good barometer there too.
Yeah. You know what the problem with going to movies these days? The 40 minutes of previews. I feel like it used to be 20. Now it's 40 minutes of previews, and I'm sick of it, man.
I have not been to the movie theater since I think 2019. The last movie I saw in the theater was the Impractical Jokers movie. I don't go. There's never anything. In fact, when I was in Florida, walked by a movie theater and people stopped like, oh, what is playing there? And I didn't really know any of them. The only one that I knew was Cocaine Bear.
People are seeing that. Everybody's been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, but there's never any movie that I go, oh, I can't wait to see that. That's the problem. So why am I going to go?
I got one for you that you're going to want to see. The Nike movie.
Do I really need to go to the movie theater to see that? I can wait till it comes out.
I feel like, I mean, you could wait till it comes out. That's a movie that I'm going to.
It's been a long time since I said, oh, I can't wait to go see it at a movie. I never go. That is great. Yeah, I've been to the movies one time in the last 4 years.
That's why I've even been to the movies more recently than you have.
There's never anything that motivates me that I have to see it now. Practical Jokers, obviously, I love them.
Right.
And I'm going to see them on Sunday.
Damn.
Yeah,
really?
UBS Arena.
Wow. And still no Joe, huh?
Yeah, I know. That's kind of disappointing.
You know what, Ron? I'm going to admit I was wrong. Now that Joe's been gone, he makes the show.
I told you.
You're right. You were right. I'm wrong. For those that are listening, if we had our little bottom line here that maybe we'll one day have breaking news, Fensty admits that he was wrong. Ronas was right. Joe makes the show, not Sal. It's not even close.
Are they saying that by bringing on a special guest every week now? Aren't they kind of saying
yes?
Because you know who the 2 weeks ago, you know who they brought on, right?
Well, wasn't Chris Jericho on?
Jericho was one. Anthony Davis was on 2 weeks ago.
See, I don't want him involved in anything like that because let's say something goes wrong and he slips on the floor, then he's out for 9 months.
So then we can use the Twitter account as Anthony Davis hurt again. And then on Practical Jokers, yes, he's questionable to return.
Oh, man. That's someone I don't want to see him do anything except playing basketball because
he's been tearing it up, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, back to his props tomorrow. Lakers play.
Ooh, yes, sir, indeed there. Want to remind all of you that it's your chance to rant about fantasy sports betting and more tonight on Monday Night Rants. Join Edward Rouse to talk about the NBA, March Madness, NFL free agency, NASCAR, and the upcoming baseball season and more. Monday Night Rants with Ed Rouse tonight right after us, 7 Eastern on bettorsports.com and on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch at Bettor Network. But sometimes you don't appreciate things until they're gone. Joe being gone has definitely made Impractical Jokers less interesting to me. And
it's still good, but I definitely miss him. And yeah, I always tell my exes that too, the same thing that you just said. You don't realize what you have until it's gone.
Absolutely. So you've been broken up with a lot, I'm guessing, right?
No, I'm the one who tells them that when you know what I mean?
When they're breaking up with you.
It's usually not them breaking up with me.
Oh, it's the other way around all the time? 75%
Not all the time.
Of the time?
I mean, a lot of mutual. We were like the professional athlete and the coach. We mutually agreed to part ways.
Oh, why won't they sign another contract, even a 1-year extension? Well, we're parting ways.
Yeah.
That's it. Heavy T. Oh, look at this Tyler Soto hanging there. If you bowl a 200, the pants are coming off. Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I could bowl a 75, pants are coming off.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Because it's not about the bowling when you're on the bowling date. It's just that's what it is. It's the activity that
we're just trying to get the adrenaline flowing.
Absolutely. There. Bowling thing. Disco bowling. And then, that's something that's very key. The 7-10 split. I've never hit one of those before. So if you can hit one of those, then yes.
That's hit much.
Yes, you have hit a lot. We all know that. We all know that, man. We all know that. Come on. Adam Rodas right here. Look at this guy. Just the biggest time bachelor, the heartbreak kid, Shawn Michaels over here. You're like the heartbreak kid. I feel like you broke.
Oh, you know what I came across at the hotel the other night when I was watching TV?
What?
The A&E when they were talking about Mankind Undertaker, that match on the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, King of the Ring, Hell in a Cell, 1998. Yep.
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Like they say wrestling's fake. Well, that match proves it's not
fake. Mankind was just
how do you fake that?
Even Undertaker was like, dude, just stop. What are you doing?
Well, you know what happened? The Undertaker then choke slammed him from the top through the cage.
Yeah.
That wasn't supposed to happen.
I know.
And he landed on the tacks too, and he's got a tooth coming out of his nose.
And Undertaker said that Mankind was not happy with the way the first thing went with the tacks, and he made him do it again.
Yeah.
Remember, because he just put him on his back, landed on him, and then he did he body slam him or tombstone him? No, not tombstone him. But then he put him on that because Mankind said, "Nah, that I didn't like the way that went. Let's do it again."
Yeah, crazy. That was just nuts right there with man. That really did build him up big time. That match immortalized him. And for those that say he's a glorified stuntman, come on, let's see anybody get thrown off something that's 35 feet in the air going through a table. There's no fakeness in that. You want to say wrestling's choreographed? It absolutely is. Fake? Not that. You can ask Mick Foley about that because he lost his ear in ECW back in 1994 for getting his head stuck in the ropes. Nearly killed the guy right there. Nothing more hardcore. Long Island strong. Mick Foley. Let's get to some props for the rest of these games. He's Adam Ronis. I am Justin Fensterman. Ronis would probably be Mankind. You know what? No, I'd be like Cactus Jack. Ronis would be Dude Love right there.
I'm not Dude Love. Are you kidding me?
You're Dude Love. Lord have mercy. Oh, you're Dude Love. You're with all the ladies, right?
No, that Dude Love. No, sorry. I'm the Godfather.
Wow, it's time once again for everybody to come aboard
the
train. That's right, the train. That is the playbook here on Bettor Sports Network.
Bettor Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
Talk sports with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Bettor Sports Network.
Let me say something about Tiger. You know, Tiger has had to redesign his entire swing. Tiger has a difference in the length of his legs because of that horrible accident. You know, in golf, there's no like, hey, you can't walk the greens, you have to take a cart. So I assumed by day 3 on Sunday, you know, the inflammation would start. He took a couple breaks where they take care of his back a little bit, but it is fascinating watching him. And so it gave me this thought, like, is he that skilled at golf? Or is this a mental thing of dedication and determination? He is so dedicated to the sport that no matter what, he's relentless to it. And the dedication and determination goes to the golf, the swing, the playing, the walking, but it goes to his overall health. The average person who doesn't stay in great shape, gets in an accident like that, goes through multiple surgeries, is not recovering and going out there to walk. And that course has some pretty steep inclines, a lot of walking. I mean, how else can you factor in these athletes, you know, the Michael Jordans, the LeBrons, these players that just, their whole focus is really optimal health, optimal body skills, optimal. And then what comes next is being the best at what they do.
I think you just hit on why Tiger still has that drive. I don't know this. I don't know the man. It could just be love of the game. It could be, I want to make as much money as I can while playing. Could be all this stuff. But LA, a lot of people think Tiger Woods is the GOAT of golf. And I don't understand how you can be the GOAT of golf when you are 3 majors short of Jack Nicklaus. Okay? So, like, LeBron, I don't think he cares what guys like me say anymore, right? He's past Kareem. He thinks he's the GOAT. I mean, he's 3rd on my list. He's in the debate. Many other people think he's the GOAT. He's not my GOAT. You know what I mean? So I wonder if Tiger is there, like LeBron, like, I don't care what the pundits, what the barbershops say. I'm the GOAT. I don't have to do anything more. This is all gravy. I wonder if Tiger looks at it that way.
I don't know what Tiger's mindset is in the GOAT status, but when players talk about what it's like to be at a tournament, when Tiger's playing versus when he's not, they'll tell you that they're on the greens and they can hear the roar 4 holes over, and that there is nothing that compares to the excitement of when he's present.
Bettor Sports Live, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific, exclusively on Bettor Sports Network. Or listen whenever you want on the app with BSN On Demand. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Justin Fensterman, Adam Ronis back with you. Monday Night Rants and the Bettor Cast on deck here. Looking at some NBA props, Ronan.
Wait, real quick, because we have some news on who's in and who's out. So Blazers starting Lillard, Thibault, Reddish, Grant, and Eubanks. Pistons starting Burks, Ivy, Livers, Bagley, and Wiseman. Cavs, Garland, Mitchell, Okoro, Mobley, and Allen. Pacers, Halliburton in, Turner in, Nembhard, Hield, Nawara. And Sixers, Harden, Maxey, Melton, McDaniels, and Embiid. Tucker and Tobias Harris out. For the Celtics, Smart, White, Brown, Griffin, and Muscala. So, yes. So that is going to definitely affect player props right now.
This is me betting the first play of the day of James Harden over 22.5 points right now in this game. Now that we know.
I also have a parlay. It's a free bet. And part of that parlay is Maxey to score 20 or more and Harden 10 or more assists.
All right. So that pretty much just assures us of our first plays right there.
I'm going to do Maxey over 21.5 on DraftKings as well. I also like the Harden 2 threes, over 2.5 threes as well.
Wow, so we're kind of on the same page with the Sixers backcourt tonight. against the
Yeah,
Pacers.
I mean,
I like that Halliburton's playing, Roan. Makes me feel better about lack of blowout.
yeah, and the line is 6. So let me see. Let me make sure it's still, yeah. Harden's 22.5 on DK. Maxi's 21.5 minus 105. I am betting that right now. Okay, so that is in.
Let me ask you another one. Let me ask you about this one. This is what I'm considering. I thought the points rebounds prop was a little high for Marvin Bagley. Now that we know he's starting, it's at 28.5.
What points and rebounds is 28.5?
Actually, I might have messed that up. Let me just make sure. I quickly went to look at it. It is maybe I was out of the PRs. It is actually at 27.5.
Yeah, it's still kind of
It's high, man. But what do you think about the over on 17.5 points? I mean, he's had over 20 or more in 3 of his last 4. I wish it was a little bit lower. And I'm not seeing a solo rebound prop.
I mean, it's Portland, which is good. I see 9.5. No, I see 9.5 rebounds juiced, minus 137 seaters, minus 145 BetMGM, 10.5 FanDuel. Oh my God, it's minus 140 on DraftKings, 10.5.
Damn.
Wow. Let's see what the double is.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. That's probably the best way to go. It is at
minus 130.
You know what? I'm betting that yes right now.
Minus 130, you're doing it?
Fine. It's not the best return.
Why don't you? Okay, I don't want to talk you into something. If you believe it, I was going to say parlay that with Harden over 2.5 threes.
Oh, that's not bad.
But I don't blame me if the Harden doesn't hit. You got to do it.
I'm not blaming you. I don't. Any of my bets that you suggest lose, I don't blame you. That's my.
All right. I know I was burned last time, but I'm going back to Derek White.
What number?
I think I'm gonna do assists.
Okay.
Wow, it's plus money on DraftKings over 4.5 plus 100. I mean
Listen,
on FanDuel, DraftKings is minus 115.
Listen, the last
or
2
rebounds
times,
and do I just do assist or rebounds and assists for Derek White? I mean, he's starting. I mean,
Right.
Jaylen Brown obviously is going to see a big uptick in usage. His rebounds and assists is 8.5. I told you. I mean, you see Derek White. I mean, Tatum is. I told you with Tatum. Remember that rebounds and assists with Tatum? He's been crushing it. It's been 13.5. He goes over. I mean, White had. Look at that stretch. He had a stretch of 6, 12, 10, and 10 assists. That's when like Tatum or Brown was out, I'm assuming, or he started. Yeah, 37, 40, 43. I know he only had
that assists. I think here for him.
Right,
4.5
assists, man.
Yeah. What do you? Last time
I'm playing that.
You're not playing the 4.5.
No, I am 4.5 over 4.5 assists for Derek White.
Yep, that's where I'm going to. The last 2
Let me
times,
see what
by the
that is
way,
on Bet
the last
365.
2 times we talked about this prop on this show, this specific prop with this number, he's hit. And again, with Jason Tatum out, he should definitely spend more time on
Yeah,
the ball.
I got it minus 105 on Bet 365.
Yep, I'm betting it at minus 115 on DraftKings there. Couple of small bets for tonight. But good call, by the way, Rowan, on the Bagley double-double. Now, Wiseman will be playing tonight, but I don't think that's going to stop him, bro. And by the way, who knows how many minutes Wiseman's going to go? Because if he's been a little bit banged up, maybe they limit his minutes, and now you have Bagley potentially toggling between power forward and center tonight. Bogdanovich being out is perfect for Bagley tonight.
And they're playing Portland, too.
Right. And they suck. They're one of the worst.
Here's another bet I like, too. It's involving Thibault, but it's not going to be what you think. Hold on. Let me see.
Reese?
You could do that, but this one, he's 1.5 on the threes. You could do that. But steals and blocks over 2.5.
You're going in on that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Against Detroit and their inexperienced backcourt and the players have. Go look at his steals and blocks log. He can get over this in steals alone.
You know what? Damn.
Let me see what it is on Bet 365.
That's not bad. Look at you. That's a nice little deep cut right there.
How come they don't have it on they don't have him on Bet 365? They have like 10 players and they don't have him. So I guess I'm gonna have to do it on DraftKings. I mean, the total's 230.5.
Yeah. Did we get any update, by the way, regarding, and you might have you read the Blazers lineup before or no?
Yeah.
You did, because you were going through the lineups. Again, because I must have missed it. Simon's not in, or Simon's
out.
in?
He's out.
Okay, good. I feel better about that now.
Yeah, so I'm doing Thibault over 2.5 steals plus blocks at -120 on DraftKings.
You know what? I'm going to do that too with you. This log is incredible. You're right.
And it's Detroit, man. Like, how does
Right.
he not? Like, Ivy turns the ball over because Killian Hayes is out.
Should we be looking at Cam Reddish props tonight at all? Points props?
I actually put Jeremy Grant as part of my parlay with 20 points or more, and Lillard 6 or more assists.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Little revenge game for Jeremy Grant.
Yes.
That's the game to go and attack, man. Both these defenses suck.
Who's?
Both these defenses, Detroit and Portland.
Mm-hmm.
They're terrible.
I kind of like an under on Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, what are you feeling?
Under his points.
Okay.
Denver. You look at he's just been really inconsistent.
All year, man. I don't know what's up with him.
He's averaging he had a big game last game against Washington, 25, but before that, 14, 3, 10, 35 against the Pistons, 17 and 16. And he's going up against Denver.
It's not bad.
So, I think it's 20.5, I believe. So I like that.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to what do you think of you think the Kings can cover against the Pelicans tonight? 6-point spread.
I want to play Brandon Ingram props there. De'Aaron Fox is a game time, right?
Yeah. We're still waiting on that one.
Yeah, I probably want to play Brandon Ingram. This is a good pace-up spot for him. We know that there's not going to be much defense in this game. I think you can go in a variety of ways. You can go rebounds and assists. You can go points and assists. I know Ingram's coming up.
For points alone, he's at 26.5 at -125 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I might look at points and assists or rebounds and assists. Let me see what he did. Has he faced Sacramento this year? No.
Really? He must have been out during the game.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I know he's coming off a down game, but it was Golden State on the road.
Right.
I mean, this is a matchup that he should thrive in.
You're not looking at anything Trey Murphy tonight, right? He's been scoring a good amount. I got to look it back up again, but I believe he had a good match. He had a good performance the last time these two teams met up. I actually want to stretch and say that he had 30 points, but I am going to look that up for everybody right now here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had himself a good game last time out. It was the last time these two teams played each other. The Pelicans completely destroyed the Kings. It was like a 30-point game in this one. Trey Murphy had 30 points in that one. Now, Zion was not in this game. Brandon Ingram was also not in this game. So it's not just because of the blowout run or anything. Murphy in 36 minutes had 30 points against this Kings team.
What about Jakob Poeltl today?
I thought about him too. I've been looking at him. I mean, what are you seeing for points, rebounds?
Or points?
Yeah, I mean, look, is it at 8.5 again, or is it up there at 10.5 now?
For the points or rebounds?
Yeah, points.
11.5.
Whoa. Okay. He can still get there though, man.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about him. He doesn't need a lot of playing time in order to get there. So that's not bad either.
You know who's another guy in Boston who could step up? Marcus Smart.
Yes, very true. You don't care about fatigue. I mean, these guys are professional athletes. So, but
yeah,
double overtime game last night, and he's going to have to do a lot tonight. That's the thing with Marcus. Marcus Smart was shooting horribly for most of the night. Then hit a couple of key trays down the stretch, but he was missing everything last night. We thank all of you for hanging out with us here, and Heavy T and Wesley as well. Wesley seeing that, wow, there at the Mankind Undertaker Hell in a Cell match from King of the Ring 98. For Adam Bernard, Isaiah Groves, we thank them. We thank Adam Rodas. I'm Justin Fensterman. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, same network, Bettor Sports Network. The playbook has closed.